This is absolutely Essendon, Smokin Joe's Multi-Mania, and it hasn't been delivering too much thus far, but we hope to turn that around this week. Now you'll notice that we're not in the studio this week. I know my excuse. I'm in a warmer climate, and I am probably going to struggle to speak without a brick wall behind me. But DT, what's your excuse?
Well, I thought I might do the recording down at the beach at Newport on Port Phillip Bay, and you can see it's a beautiful tropical sunny day out there on the bay, and I'm just around the corner from the Werribee sewage plant, so everything looks pretty good from here, as you can see.
That sewage obviously very good for the local vegetation, the palm trees.
They seem to take to it very well, and I've got to say they're putting something in that, because I can't smell a thing, and I'm actually down breeze. So, but you're up in the northern climes, I believe, somewhere a little more tropical than down here.
I am. I'm up on the Gold Coast, mate. Burleigh Heads,
right.
Sunny playground of the dodgy.
Are you hanging out with A-listers up there, or is it just a working trip?
No, there's definitely no work being done up here, mate. The good lady needed to thaw out from the Melbourne climate.
Well, I'm glad to see that this channel's turning over that much revenue for you, that you can just dart up to the sunny Gold Coast on a whim.
Oh, the endorsements are just flowing
in.
Have I not filled you in on that? Sorry.
No, well, I'm looking forward to Sportsbet giving us a call, because this is taking off. Multi-Mania, your Joe's Multi-Mania is absolutely shaking up the internet at the moment.
They'll only be calling us to tell us to just stop referring to their odds when we, talking about our multi.
They can't take ownership of odds, surely.
It's just not good for their brand that, we're referring to them and failing miserably. But that said, last week, yes, it was foolhardy of me to, I don't know what my thesis was. It was all about leaning into the unexpected and let's go for the weed to kick 2 goals. And so, and of course, the controversial thing is that we also had Menzies for a goal. All the other possession selections came in nicely. Yep. Thank you very much.
Sure.
The goal selections, Menzies being subbed off, that didn't help. And when he did have a kick for goal, he was very, very unselfish. Giving it selfie. And that's just annoying. We need goal kickers that are very
selfish players wanted.
In my defence, the weed did line up 25 metres out, and wasn't able to convert, and did drop a chest mark as well in front of goal.
What are the odds on Wiedemann missing from 20 metres out this week? That must be pretty short, I would have thought.
$3. No, we said we weren't going to go down that path anymore. We've made our point.
Did you want to, just before you get into your sorry to jump in, but I know there's some breaking news that you wanted to talk about before.
Well, I noticed there was, because I noticed that we tweeted that big story, a rumor around Orazio Fantasia coming back home.
Yes.
Now I just want to know that I think that's been proven to be a furphy, has it?
It's basically a crock of shit, I think we can say. Right. I know the children are in bed by now. Fantasia, who's he kidding? He wouldn't have been welcome back anyway, I wouldn't have thought. But he's put that rumour to bed, saying that he's looking forward to a career playing in the Norwood Seconds over there in Adelaide, and good luck to him. And
I've got to say, he hasn't been getting a lot of game time for Port Adelaide. But the only thing, if it was possible for something to hurt more than last week's loss, the only thing that would hurt more would have been Ratio kicking after the siren and beating us.
Yeah, no chance of that. He's perpetually injured, is our Raz. He's made of glass. I think probably, given his Italian background, that would be Murano crystal.
Venetian Murano glass.
Exactly. Don't sneeze around the man. You'll rip his head off. But no, he's not coming back. It never was.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And what else is happening in the world of football? Any other big stories?
Well, there's been the scandal over the AFL players' nude photos, and there seem to be quite a lot of them in circulation. I don't know how many nude photos of yourself that you've ever circulated. I'm not ashamed to say, or maybe I'm a little ashamed.
Hang on a second.
It's zero. It's
There you go.
absolutely
It's on its way.
Oh,
Now, I tell you what, these AFL,
that's surprising on many, many fronts.
they've got to learn to keep their pants on. I mean, they're getting naked more often in front of the camera than Paris Hilton, these boys, aren't they? You know, what do they think's going to happen to those photos? Do they think they're just going to be stuck under someone's mattress, or they're going to somehow find their way onto the internet? I mean,
they're secretly hoping for an X-rated footy card collection, perhaps.
Right,
You know,
right,
extra
yeah.
revenue stream.
Yep, the men of the AFL, the snags of the AFL.
They're available at Sexyland. If you pop in there, they're on the front counter.
Right. And I guess what Nick Revolt's the producer of this great collection, is he? Is it Nick? Who else? Who else is flashing there?
His name.
Yeah.
Well, basically, you could pick any St Kilda player.
Well, you could, couldn't you? I mean, there's Nick and the rest of them. And I think Nick's over in America now, keeping his nose clean, which we're very pleased to say he's doing an excellent job at that. Now, shall we get on to the multi and see what have you got? Because I've got to tell you, I'm getting a lot of mail, not all of it's nice, about your selections.
What sort of mail?
Well, you know, hate. One of the hate type. You know, look, I've put my wife's savings on your multi last week, and she's now left me. That sort of thing. So I'm hoping this week we can nail it. All right.
The burden is quite heavy. Okay, let's get stuck straight into it. And so we need to talk through. Do
you want to go through the ins and outs first? Because I think when we did our preview, we didn't quite have vision of that. We now do.
We didn't, and let's face it, this multi episode really is more of a preview than the preview, I'm finding. But
yeah, because we actually know a little bit about the game. You know, in our rush to get videos out, we might want to just sort of wait a little longer. But anyway, it was still a good video. I enjoyed it, and I know
we're just keeping people company, mate.
Well, maybe that's it. But now we've got. Do you want me to go through the ins?
Yes, please.
Right. So we've got the three Nicks are in.
Right.
Nick Bryan, Nick Cox, and Nick Hind.
Nick Cox is a surprise, don't you think?
I've not seen Cox coming in behind Hind like that, but that's interesting. So Cox, now the extended bench, which is what we have today because they're playing on the Sunday. You've got Hobbs, Shield, Schnelling, Coxie, Hind, and Bryan. I don't think Cox will play, and I'd be pretty surprised if Hind and Bryan actually came in. So I think those three ins are a bit of a 30. Yep. I think Scotty's playing mind games with you and me. And he is.
He's sticking it to us.
He's not happy with us. Yeah. No, he doesn't. He doesn't like some of the comments. He doesn't like the fact that he was demoted from Sir Bradley, just turned to straight common Bradley.
That would have ripped through the club. Ripped through the club on Monday, that would have.
Yeah. So it's a bit hard to say, but I'd be pretty confident saying that Cox and Hind and Bryan probably won't get a look in, but you never know. And then for Adelaide, they've got a few ins also on an extended bench with Parnell, Schoenberg, Barlace, and Himmelberg. It sounds like the sort of stormtroopers around Berlin in 1938. That lot. Schoenberg,
I'm feeling that reference.
And then out Butts. So is it Seymour Butts? Jordan Butts. Sorry. Okay. I couldn't help that. All right. So that's the ins and outs. Nothing to write home about there. It's all pretty vanilla. What have you got?
Sure. Okay. Well, we covered a bit in the preview. Their midfield. You got the likes of Dawson as well. Certainly need to be dealt with. But let's talk about their big brute down in the forward line, who's in pretty good form. Tex Walker. He kicked 4 goals against us last time we met, round 4 last year. One would imagine. We need to keep an eye on him. Who will have that job?
Look, you'd think it would be Zirk Thatcher once again. Poor kid. I mean, he's just being mentally raped by the selectors every time he looks at the selections, the team list each Thursday night. He's up against the biggest man in the AFL. If it's not
gangly.
I mean, it's not Joey Danaher, it's Tom Hawkins, it's Charlie Dixon. I think he will be taking the big Texan this week to free up Jordan Ridley, the King Jordan of Ridley, to do his thing. I think Zirk Thatcher's the man for the big Texans.
Okay, because why I ask is that weighs into what possible defenders we may choose to throw into the mix. Let me ask you this as well. There's a stat now. It's at Marvel, so it's a pretty fast track. No chance of precipitation. And given the
unless there's a bunch of English cricket fans in the ground on the weekend, they'll be pouring out their salty tears, wouldn't they? Hey?
They really did have a big whinge. Like they really, the English really stick to their brand, don't they? Because they don't focus on the fact that, well, you know, we lost all these other wickets and, you know, it probably wasn't looking likely that we were going to win anyway.
Yeah.
They seem to forget that.
Well, they do. And I mean, they've made an art form out of being sooks, haven't they? So let's see. But other than them spilling their tears all over the terraces at Marvel, I think it'll be dry.
Fairly dry. So one would imagine Adelaide's last two games have been a bit of a shootout.
Yes.
The last time we played with them, it was as well. So that would suggest high-scoring game, a lot of free-flowing football, a lot of clean possessions. That's the theory so far.
I agree.
So let's feed that into the mix. Then also the Adelaide, their last 11 occasions at Adelaide have played in Victoria. They've lost their first quarter.
Okay.
So, but that does not necessarily suggest that Essendon will come out of the blocks quickly, or does it? Because that adds a bit of value to the multi if we put Essendon to win in the first quarter.
No, I honestly think Essendon will start better this week. You know, they were very slow out of the blocks against Port Adelaide. You know, maybe that cost them the game in the end. You know, when it comes down to a few points. But I do think there will be a response this week. I said it in the preview. They're going to be hurting a little bit after that loss. I'd expect them to come out like a steam train.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe that is at $1.90. We throw that into the.
I like the sound of that one.
Do you? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll put that. A bit of a tick at the moment. So, then we come. Okay, so let's just talk about possession getters, and let's start with those guys to get 20 plus possessions in the mix. You've got the likes of Caldwell. I like at the moment. He's really got his game face on. If he gets that time in the middle, I think he can be relied upon.
He's had a breakout year, Jai Caldwell. I've got to tell you. You know, I think he snuck under a lot of people's radars. This guy was always a good player, but he's had a really bad run with injuries, particularly when he was at GWS and in fact in his first season at Essendon. But he seems to be fully fit. He's got a few games under the belt now, and he's just becoming an absolutely essential player in our midfield.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's the Hobgoblin as well. You know, in some pretty good form, but maybe might have a quiet week. There's that to consider. Then you've got the likes of McGrath paying a very good price for 20 plus, and where do you go Ridley as well? Don't know if he's good for 20. He wasn't last week. Certainly 15 plus. But what do you think of the likes of McGrath? Is he forward line of Adelaide is not too shabby. So what do you think?
No, they're not. But look, Adelaide plays a game which will see the ball inside their forward 50 a lot. We tend to invite that pressure as a football team. We like to defend and then rebound out of our half, our defensive half. So McGrath typically does get a fair bit of the ball, and he's been in pretty good form this year, it has to be said. And let me just tell you this also, because I did a little research beforehand. He plays very well against Adelaide as well. He averages over 20 possessions against Adelaide. And so I would think he'd be a pretty good bet for the 20 plus in this game.
All right. I'm seeing a tick there. I'm seeing a tick there for McGrath, a tick for Caldwell thus far. Let's leave that for a moment. Let's go Parrish and Merritt.
Okay.
So I was thinking one of those for 30 plus, but you tell me who you're thinking.
Yeah, look, I think that's pretty much the way I'd look at it. A 30-plus bet on one of those, although to be honest, I think both of them could probably do that. So it's really more a case of, you know, tossing a coin. I think both those guys, they got a lot of the ball last week, particularly Parrish, although I know there's been a bit of criticism of his game in terms of his effectiveness in the disposal part of it. But in terms
mainly from you, mate. Mainly from you.
Pretty much. But it's okay. I'm prepared to give him a second chance. But look,
he got the ball to Langford in that very crucial goal. He got it to Langford.
He also got the ball between the point posts when he needed to score a goal. So
he did. There are four very valuable behinds.
Well, unfortunately, not enough behinds. But as it turned out, I think Parish for 30 plus is a pretty decent bet. Okay. I also think Merritt for 30 plus. But I'm going to say Parish if you're okay with that one. Well, I want him to have a huge game. I really do. I really want to see Parish come out and show us all how wrong we are.
Well, look, then, okay. And look, I had Merritt for 25, but maybe we put him 30 plus as well. Maybe.
Well, I mean, if you want to go out on a limb, I know you love that.
No, I don't want to go out on a limb because I've got people relying on me. So let's leave Merritt at 25. Yeah. Now, when it comes to goal kickers, and we might steer well clear of goal kickers, given that we just don't know with our forward line who shows up.
Who does?
Right? Is 2 meter Peter going to reappear this week or not? But you may even possibly throw Parish in to kick a goal. Big price. If you say he kicked 4 behinds last week, had his chances, do you say not to be relied upon or? I know by that is what you're saying. All right, done. Scrap it. Okay,
look, I hear you. It'd have to be a very tempting price. My feeling is we need to recover a bit of credibility.
Since when have we been?
Well, since we started doing this.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
So if you want to go Parish for a goal,
scrap that. But if it's
offering over $2,
wants to go Parish, okay, no, maybe not. Okay, we'll leave that out. So then you've got the likes of the single goal kickers. I'm going to mention names. Menzies, is he going to play a full game?
He will. Not.
Okay, so maybe throw him in the mix. Martin seems to be.
He will play a full game.
But yes.
What, are you looking for a 1 goal scorer here?
Yeah, just one.
Yeah, look, I mean, we've hung our hat on Menzies for a couple of weeks, I think.
We have, and I think he hasn't kicked one in neither. So maybe we need to jump off him.
Maybe. Then the argument is he's due, right?
The old argument. Hey, careful when talking about nationalities. People are sensitive.
Hey. Oh, of course. Yes. He's
so,
bound to score this week, I think. Yeah. No, I like the idea of Nick Martin. I actually like that a lot. And I suspect we'll get a slightly better price for him as well.
We will indeed. So if we take 2 or 3 at 20 plus, and then you've got Parish and Merritt, and then you've got a couple of goal kickers. I'm not going to add that up in front of me unless I go to the ready rec.
Leave that with me. I'll come back with the prices and we'll put it on the screen.
Now, last thoughts on 2 meter Peter?
Yeah, he's got to come out and do something this week. I think he's been a little bit off in the last 2 weeks. But to be fair,
come on, he got monstered.
I was going to say he's had half a dozen of the other side's defenders hanging off him like ornaments on a Christmas tree, and he's might as well play with one arm literally tied behind his back. I don't think that'll happen this week. I think they're very, very short in defence this time around. Adelaide, they're missing a couple of key players like Dodie and our good friend Seymour Butts. So I'm expecting one of our tall boys to dominate, and I think you can guess which one it won't be.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hope, but let's not throw. I'm not going to throw him into the mix. I'm just going to give him a bit of time without pressure.
So can you quickly wrap that up, because I can see the producer here is telling me the satellite's dropping out.
Yes, yeah, we are.
1.5 minutes.
I think we're going to go Caldwell and McGrath for 20 plus. Maybe even throw in Ridley for 15 plus.
Yeah,
because I think that's fairly reliable. And then we're going to go Merritt at 25 plus.
Yep.
Parish at 30 plus. How many is that?
I think you've got 4 already. So why don't we just stick with Merritt at 25? Or do you want? No, we said Parish, right? We said Parish.
Yeah, okay, let's just do Parish at 30. Yeah, that's right. Leave out Merritt and let's have Menzies and Martin for goals.
Okay, that's it. You got about 27 people on this multi at the moment.
No. I think that should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. All right. Well, we can leave Ridley out. Maybe we'll leave it out.
All right. So let me just recap quickly. We've got Caldwell McGrath for 20 plus. Parish for 30 plus, Martin for a goal.
Yep.
And didn't you want to go Bombers to win the first quarter?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Oh, this does have a lot of legs. All right. Well, it's going to be somewhere within that.
All right. I'll get this up and
we'll throw this up on the screen.
We sure will.
Put
Listen,
this
I can hear my cocktails
Yep.
ready, the pina colada and Coke. So I'm just going to nip over to the swim over to the floating bar, and
do
I
that.
shall
Thanks
see
everyone
you very
for watching.
soon.
Give it strength, please.